So I wanted to do another video about renting in DFW from beginning to move in. I've been helping a lot of people relocate here from not only in-state but out of state. And Dallas-Fort Worth is different than even other parts of Texas. So I want to make sure I cover everything so you know what to expect when you come here. First of all, before you even begin thinking of leasing a property here, you need to know landlord expectations. Typically, they're going to expect you to begin a lease within 2 weeks after your application's approved if the home is available for current move-in. So just wanted to start with that first. Not every property manager or owner uses the same application process, so just be prepared for that. Some may be online, some may be paper applications, some may be the state form, some may be the owner's form. Application fees vary. I've seen from $40 to $100 per adult. So if you're 18 or older, everyone 18 or older will have to fill out their own application, whether they are leasing or not, even if they're an occupant. Background checks have to be done. Some deal breakers would be here typically landlords want you to have, generally speaking, a 650 credit score or higher. There are exceptions, like in all cases. But if you're under 650, expect you may have double security deposit. And what is a security deposit for a single-family home, townhome, or condo in the Dallas-Fort Worth area? It's the equivalent of a month's rent. But it's not rent that you're paying in advance. That is money that you're putting on hold in case you damage the property. The landlord can take all or a portion of it, but they do have to document if they do take it all or even part of it. So just be prepared for that. What are some deal breakers? Evictions. If you've had a broken lease in the last couple of years, many landlords won't even consider you eviction, sometimes bankruptcy, foreclosure. That may force you to look at a second chance apartment or very large deposits. I've seen worst case 12 months of rent up front along with 2 or 3 months security deposit up front in cash. So that would be worst case. But that's just something to keep in mind. And now let's talk about the income documentation process. If you have a part-time job, you need to be on that for at least 2 years. So obviously if you're moving to the Metroplex from another area of the state, that's not going to count if you've been on a job for less than 2 years. Obviously, if you're just moving here, if you're moving here with the same company, an offer letter typically will work, but it's best if you can to document at least 30 days of income. Sometimes landlords will require bank statements. They're looking to see if you bounce checks. Not always the case, but that's something to keep in mind. And let's talk about pets. So if you have more than 2 pets, that can be a deal breaker, especially if they're large dogs, like in excess of 50 pounds. Many landlords have limits of 15 to 25 pounds, but more than 2 animals, expect lots of denials or ask for large deposits or fees. Many times they're fees, which means a pet fee is non-refundable. Negotiated a lease recently for someone that had 3 animals, and it was a couple $1,000s between the deposits and monthly pet fees. So just something to keep in mind. I don't see monthly pet fees often, but again, if you exceed that 2-pet limit, some landlords just don't want pets, so they put a monthly pet fee in. Keep that in mind. So other deal breakers would be an aggressive animal. Pit bull, American bulldog, Doberman Pinscher, German Shepherd. Those are some of the few. There's some more. Grand Pyrenees, very large dog. So keep that in mind. It's not the landlord's being a jerk and doesn't want to rent because you have an animal. It's because their insurance company will not cover that. So the other thing you need to know is that process to get approved takes typically 3 business days. I had one recently that took longer than that. But generally speaking, 3 business days is what it takes. That means Monday through Friday, no weekends, because they can't verify employment or rental history typically on the weekends. But the other thing you need to know, and I can't remember if I mentioned it, but I'm going to bring it up again. Rarely will you see a refrigerator, washer, and dryer here. That's only in about 1% of the properties here. 10% may have a refrigerator only. So just keep that in mind. Just be prepared to bring your own appliances. That's most likely going to be the case. Also, when it comes to utilities, there are different utility companies here. There's Encore, there's CoServe. Then in Tarrant County and some of the other areas, you'll have some other providers. Before and if the property has gas, and of course you'll have water, prior to move in, you need to get these things set up, because if the gas is off prior to move in, you're going to have someone there physically present Monday through Friday between 8 and 5 for the gas company to turn it on. That is also the case sometimes with some water utilities. Keep that in mind. If you're in an Encore service area, you go choose one of however many companies are up there. You want to choose a fixed rate if you're moving here. You don't want variable, because with oil and gas prices shooting up and down, that could be a real deal killer for you. So hopefully that right there helps you understand the process here. If you're relocating to the area or you're renting locally, having sold a home, that's the other thing is unemployment. They're going to want to see a 2-year history unless you're a recent college graduate. For rental, typically they want 2 years minimum. Unless you've owned a home, that's an exception. So keep that in mind. They also may ask for more security deposit if you're new to renting. So I think I've covered about 99.9% of things, but one more thing I just remembered. Same person with the animals was wanting to know if they could transfer funds electronically to the landlord. Not every landlord will allow that. Some only want paper checks. Some may want you to go deposit your rent security deposit in their account at a bank that they will provide you. That one more thing that I just thought of is there is an inventory and condition form where you're going to go through and identify things that aren't working. Fill that out. Usually the landlord wants it there within 5 to 10 days. You want to take digital timestamp pictures if you see any issues. Also report things right away. Also, there's some property management companies that rent as is, where is. So feel free to reach out to me. Love to help you.